And welcome to another episode of Football the Pod. I'm your host, Commissioner Ben. All right, welcome to Football the Pod, Season 4, Episode 8. We're back. After being off last week, I was just way too busy, couldn't possibly handle it. I'm not yet caught up on my sleep, but the pod is more important. Recording late for some people on Wednesday, October 22nd. And all right, let's remember back to that, 2 days ago. I feel like that old week is already done, but that's why you've got to review it. That was a high scoring week in football. I'm sure you've already forgotten, thanks to the incredible Blue Jays hype. So let's bring you back to the past weekend before we look ahead to the World Series. Fantasy Week 8. But first, it's time for Just a Tip with Commissioner Ben. All right, today's tip. It is time to finally revisit the advanced stats that I missed out on last time. Well, from like 4 episodes ago. Thanks to Nick, of course. Let's close in on the one stat. YPRR, yards per route run. I mentioned that. I stated it wrong. Let's actually say what that is. This is yards per route run. How many yards are you getting per amount of time that you are actually on the field doing something, basically? Instead of just fantasy points, instead of targets, what are the actual points, well, in terms of getting down the field, that you're contributing to your team? Are you just running a bunch all over the field, doing wind sprints? Are you getting targets, but you can't quite make the catches? Or are you actually getting the ball and gaining yards? This is one of those advanced stats that can actually be pretty predictive as well, to look at breakouts if a 1 week high scoring game is sustainable. And so just to give you the proper idea of the numbers, great pass catchers get at least 2 yards per route run on average. And this is not like a completely sticky stat, but this is the kind of numbers you want to look for. And elite players are hitting over 3 yards per route run on average. And so, all right, let's just take a look at this year's leaders to give you an example. Jackson Smith in Jigba is at like 4.4 yards per route run. He's well above everybody else as a wide receiver. Actually, he's just the best player in the year in this stat. And well, he's like the best fantasy point earner overall at wide receiver. Most consistent wide receiver this year. So it makes sense. Let's run down the top 10. We got Stephon Diggs, who's at 4, which is unreal. He's getting the ball when he is out there on the field. CeeDee Lamb at 3.7. Puka Nacua 3.4. Jordan Addison, the first surprising one, at 3.37. He's actually having a great year. Justin Jefferson at 3, so all, a bunch of common people. Alec Pierce, who really boosted his stats with last week's game, but he's a potential, breakout candidate. Then top players like Drake London, and then another one, a bit of surprising player at 2.75, Luke McCaffrey, not Christian McCaffrey. So Luke McCaffrey is not on the field much, but when he is getting the ball. So perhaps Washington will start throwing the ball more. Let's look over to tight end now. I could not find running back stats in the minimal searching I did for this number, but at tight end, at number 1, massive breakout this past week. We've got Oronde, I think that's how you say his name, Gadsden, the rookie tight end on the Chargers, 3.35 yards per route run. That is difficult to do. So perhaps his breakout is for real. We got Daniel Bellinger, who just really had a crazy game last week, so he's pretty high up. Tight ends can be a little bit fluctuating with the stat. But then Tyler Warren, Dalton Kincaid, and Tucker Kraft round out the top 5. So definitely players that you'd expect to be there. So perhaps this is saying that Gadsden is really primed to be a top player. That is the kind of, advanced stat just for Nick. Hopefully others. Yards per route run. Take a look at those numbers. Check for numbers above 2. And that was just a tip with Commissioner Ben. All right. We are, of course, back with a guest. First time on the show this year, graciously giving us his time after being crushed by me, but he's still on a high from the Jays win and the corresponding endless Busch Lights that has actually, in fact, turned into a bone shaker tonight, I believe. Scott, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining. How's it going?
Good. It's good to be back. Yeah, this is the new Busch Light.
Wow, a new can, yeah.
I think it's 7.1%. Jason?
Oh, yeah. I think that's the Busch Heavy.
Pretty fucking far from a Busch Light.
Wow. Who are you, John Schneider, breaking out the F-bombs already on the pod? Jeez. I don't even have my Sportsnet. This is not intended children audiences or whatever they put out on the World Series.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean they said it after
ALCS.
a couple F-bombs, so you're good too.
All right, good. As long as you get 1 or 2 in. I think the rule is you're allowed 2 before you have to put in the warning on YouTube before they come for me for not making this audience appropriate. All right, let's get into fantasy. Before we get into our Week 7 review, we had another trade, our 4th of the season, every single one of them involving Mike. I think the way this year is going, he is maybe just trying to beat my record from last year. This one, incredibly monumental trade. I'm sure it's going to have huge effect on the season moving forward. Mike received Jameson Williams, Detroit wide receiver, early draft pick. He was like a 3rd or 4th rounder. For Eddie, who received Travion Henderson from Mike, who I traded to Mike a few weeks ago, the New England rookie running back. He was my 2nd round pick. All right, Scott, what do you think of this trade?
Yeah, I mean, obviously pretty impactful. As was discussed in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I think it was covered there. I think Henderson got 0.5 points and no targets.
2 carries for 5 yards. Good game.
Yeah, 2 carries for 5 yards. I think he's gotten most of his points or a lot of his points on, some work in the passing game, and there was none of that. And JMO did shit all. But
he had 2 in his stat line too. He did have 2 targets, but
2 targets, yeah. But I mean, it is a trade that could make a difference down the road. I mean, Jameson's a big boom bust guy. You get him in the lineup in an important week, scores 30 points. You never know. Maybe Ramondre gets injured or something, and then Travion's relevant. I don't know. Never know.
Yeah. So, the way we're talking about this, quite the fall for some early round drafted players. Maybe we'll be talking about them later in the show. We'll have to see. But in terms of how they produced, 0.5 points compared to 0, clearly 0.5 is infinitely better. So Eddie wins the trade. Easy peasy. All right, let's get into the main segment that we can review. And first, we got to start off with the low score of the week. This has not gotten enough notification in the chat in the 2 weeks of my busyness. So let's really highlight our winners this week. And our biggest pooper, our second 2-time award winner of the season, fighting off Mike's three-peat in the race to the bottom. I thought Mike was going to do it, but no. He came through in the end, which means congratulations goes out to, with 89 points last week, Christine, congratulations. I hope you found your $10 in your account. It was there before waivers rolled, but maybe after you went to bed. But take a look. Hope you noticed that. Let's hope for your sake that number 3 in a row doesn't come quick. All right, on to the high score. This one was also close with a bunch of high scores this week. 4 teams scored at least 154 points. 154 points would have been good enough to take home the top score in half of our weeks so far. Just to give you a little sense of the scale, they're quite high scoring. But claiming this week is our second 2-time champ, first back-to-back champ on the season, 168 points. Congratulations to Sean. Did not get the pod shout-out last week, so of course he had to do it again. Well-deserved. Looks like your season is turning around for the first time in a few years. We'll see. Don't want to speak too early. Let's get into the full matchup breakdown. Once again, we've got video and audio, so I move over to the screen share. We will go through in whichever format you want to watch it in or listen. Starting off in, of course, the way everything appears on my screen, which means we got myself against our guest, Scott. We already know what happened. Look at this 146-108 victory for myself. That is all I will say. Scott, what do you have to say about this one?
Yeah, I mean, it was never close, which was fine by me because I was just focused on the Blue Jays all weekend,
I got you on a good one.
You had Jamar score 38.1 on Thursday night on a ridiculous 23 targets. And then, Justin Herbert, 34 points. And I think he threw the ball 55 times. So it was all about volume for you.
420 pass yards. Yep.
Yeah. I started 3 tight ends for the second straight week. Which, kind of worked out other than the 0 from Waller. I mean, Kate Otten did well.
They were your second and third highest scorer.
Yeah.
I guess the IR tag on Waller says it all there.
Yeah, I mean, he was theoretically healthy going into the game, and he had done okay. But
he had a good run. It was a good comeback, but that's probably
weeks.
It for him.
That's all you can ask for. Waste some of my waiver money, but whatever. I mean, it was never close. My team is a disaster, and Justin Fields is dead to me. And that's all I have to say.
I guess, since you're on the pod, we can go ahead and show your IR here. You lost your, formerly backup quarterback. I guess starting quarterback, forcing yourself to play Justin Fields, Malik Neighbors, and Tyreek Hill. Done for the season. I mean, the rest of your bench is bad.
I told Eddie to mention that when he was on the pod. I haven't listened to that episode. Did he not do it? Or are we doing it again?
Yeah, you better listen to find out. That's all I can say. Justin Fields did lead me to get eliminated in a guillotine league this week. So, I made the terrible decision to play him as well. All right. My whole team was really just Justin Herbert and Jamar Chase. So, other than that, New England defense, come on. This was a disappointing matchup overall. I don't really have much to cheer for. I'm not too proud of it either. Let's just move right on to our second matchup. And you look at the score. Sarah against Mike. 159-98, and this was not even the blowout of the week. I can't even say that. There was a bunch of, completely destructive wins, I will say. Not even close this week, so there's not much to, really talk about on Mike's side. We've got another D for Daniels, Jaden Daniels. He has already been declared out this week. It will be Marcus Mariota starting. At least he got almost 20 fantasy points before he went out. But all right, look at Sarah's side. Picking up and playing Matthew Stafford last week and this week. He is leading the league in passing yards. 5 passing touchdowns and only 182 passing yards, which is hilarious, but still good for a top quarterback score on the week. Keenan Allen, that must have hurt. That was Sarah received him in a trade from Mike, and now he jumps back out to be second on her team, 28 points, another top wide receiver. Sarah did just get Mike Evans back, and now he's out for basically the season. So, but that doesn't even matter because that was canceled out by 2 zeros on Mike's side. 2 goose eggs, James Williams and George Kittle. Not even a single stat for Yahoo to highlight, which really sums up Mike's season correctly so far. 25 points also from the Cleveland defense for Sarah. Look at this. 1 to 6 points allowed. They only gave up 6 to Miami. 3 interceptions and a touchdown. And let's move on from this matchup before Scott's computer takes off and leaves us. All right. The third matchup of last week was Daniel against Brent. Daniel took this one down handily once again, 154-118. Scott, what do you have to say about this one?
Yeah, Daniel continues to roll. Brent continues to struggle. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have enough backers on his team.
Yeah, he got rid of a few too many, so the vibes are off.
Yeah, Daniel had, a lot of good performances despite a down week from Ashton Giente.
Yeah, I think, in fact, they've all been down weeks from Ashton Genty.
No, he's had a couple good weeks. I checked.
All right. Fine.
33 and a half right there. Even 15, 16 is
it's totally reasonable. Okay. You're right.
But yeah, overall, a lot of high scores from Daniel, a lot of low scores from Brent, kind of status quo. If Brent could make his whole team out of Brandon Aubrey's, he'd probably be all right. But,
That was the best draft pick that Brent made in the draft.
He hasn't even been that good fantasy-wise.
That's, that is true. This was his second best.
He was at the start, but
second best week of the year. He's got
he doesn't miss 9 points,
points,
but they just score so many touchdowns now. So.
Yeah. What more can you say? Hey, at least AJ Brown is now getting some balls. So that's positive. However, Nico Collins might be out with a concussion. So yeah, Brent, maybe it's time for Brent to make some trades. That is what I would say. On the other side of things, Jake Ferguson, tight end 1 on the season so far. 7 receptions for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns. What a stat line.
Yeah, I actually didn't even notice that stat line in my hard-hitting analysis. But
it's all right. That's what I'm here. I'm here to call it out. Let's move on to Jason playing against Sean. 168-104 victory for Sean, which was the blowout of the week. There it is. Makes sense with our weekly champ as well. These are, really 2 teams going in opposite directions. Scott, what do you have to say about this one?
Yeah, just another great week from Sean. Well, maybe not another. I don't know. This is a great week from Sean. I haven't.
He was back-to-back champ of the week.
Okay,
so
yeah, that's right. So
absolutely.
another great week from Sean. Despite, I think he left Bo Nix on the bench and he scored like 40-something points. But I mean, you can't blame him for that because Dak's been really good.
42 points. Bo Nix was the quarterback one on the week, but I mean, yeah, you can't blame him. Agreed.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he's got two great quarterbacks. I don't even have one. So yeah, really good. A lot of mediocrity from Jason. Yeah, I mean, his top score was DeAndre Swift. That's his top score by 5 points. And it was 20.8. And I think Sean had 4 guys that scored higher than that.
That's some quick math. That is correct.
So, I mean, it's a blowout. It's a blowout.
It is a complete blowout. I mean, not much more to say. When you're playing Jalen Tolbert in your starting lineup, your team has got some fantasy problems. I mean, that's
I thought
I say. Yeah, I mean, look at yeah. Hey, at least he didn't start DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, James Cook on bye. When one player is on bye and that really kills your whole squad, might be time for Jason to make some trades as well. All right, let's move on to our 5th matchup. Scrolling down, we get to the Gritty Committee. Brandon's team, his hot streak is over as he loses to Nick 160 to 134. Feels like I've been talking about Nick a lot. However, he is still only sitting at 4-3. But Scott, what do you have to say about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the highest cumulative score of all the matchups this week.
It does look like that. Yeah.
Brandon kept it relatively close, despite a big 0 from Tutu Atwell, who I think was coming off the hamstring injury. Which is not a good injury for a guy that his whole game is like big plays and like one of them a game. So maybe
Brandon was forced to start him after spending $15 on picking him up. Yeah,
that's true. The sunk cost fallacy on Tutu Atwell. Yeah, big 0 there, but I mean he still kept it relatively close. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into Nick's side too much because I don't want his head to get bigger. But what can I say? His kicker missed an extra point, so he's got to tighten that up. I mean, that's just unacceptable.
Agreed. Unacceptable from an Indianapolis kicker. Come on. I mean, you build your whole team off Indianapolis kickers over the years. You need a better showing than that. I will say I meant to bet a TD ladder on Quinshon Judkins, and sure enough, he scored 3 TDs. I was just too tired in the morning to put it through. Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever heard of somebody doing a TD ladder, but
I saw a bet that was 2+ bet Judkins to do 2+ TDs, and so then I was like, actually, yeah, Miami is the easiest team to run against. Every team's running back against Miami has gotten 20+ points. That was the breakout game again with Kamani Vidal. Just everybody's run all over Miami. So Quinshon Judkins, he actually had a bad rushing game in terms of efficiency, but he just crushed it for touchdowns.
So Bijan is going to score like 50 points next week. Is that your prediction?
Bijan plus Algier, they're going to combine for like 60 points. Yeah, probably like 40 to Bijan, 20 for Algier. It'll be like probably 4 combined rushing touchdowns. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. All right, yeah, we don't need to talk more about Nick's roster, other than once again he is on the right side of the victory line, but the wrong side of the Jason curse in playing the wrong quarterback each week. I think we can map this back to at least 3 games in a row where he has renamed his team, started the wrong quarterback. Maybe this will come back to haunt him eventually, but it doesn't seem like it. His team is too good. All right, let's move on to our 6th matchup of the week. And this one, we have the 2 original ladies of the league, those handsomer boys, against Christine's. Well, Saquon is just definitely completely missing, so I think the name is deserving of an update. And this matchup was just a complete sleeper in a 102-89 victory for Cassie. It's not even fair to say, but this was the tight butthole matchup of the week. in this 13-point differential. By far the lowest scoring, a complete race to the bottom. Well, Cassie did have Patrick Mahomes making up a third of her team's points. Patrick Mahomes on fire. Number 1 overall fantasy point getter on the season. Most points in our league, Patrick Mahomes. So huge resurgent season from him. And Cassie really needed it because her next highest scorer was Theo Johnson. When that's the case, that's some real trouble that you are having. And I mean, on Christine's side, she probably would have won if she had gotten more than 2 points from her quarterback, Caleb Williams. Because her lineup was, overall still better than Christine's. I mean, look at this. Had the balls to start Kyle Monangai. 17 points, a career high. And it didn't even matter in the end because of, dismal performances from, Williams, like I said, but also Jalen Waddle and just Saquon. Saquon, just so disappointing. We might end up talking about him later too. Let's just move on to our last matchup. Eddie against Aaron. And, this was a 144-90 win for Eddie. Aaron and Eddie moving in opposite directions. And I didn't want to have to say it. Eddie went through 6 weeks with his namesake, Rashee Rice, on the bench from a suspension. Look at this. No points through 6 weeks while he's suspended. Comes back and scores 23 fantasy points on a hilarious line of 7 for 42 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, this is like basically his floor. He's going to start catching deeper balls. Eddie's team is looking real scary now with perhaps the true NFL MVP, one of the biggest betting risers to win NFL MVP since the season starts. Drake May, 27 fantasy points from him, huge bounce back, 62 rushing yards. I mean, that's what's carrying you. Way better than the 10 points that Aaron got from Sam Darnold. He's probably wishing he had picked up and played Jackson Dart instead. I don't know what the Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart seemed pretty similar. Poor decision in the end. And the true MVP for Eddie's team, carrying him through the season, Christian McCaffrey. We all wish we'd have taken him. Well, number 1 overall, 39 points from him. He is just, I mean, look at these CMC stat lines. He does not have a single game below 22 points. This is just insane. It's with Rashee Rice and CMC on your roster each week, it's going to be pretty tough to lose. That's about all Eddie needs. Over here on Aaron's side, I will say, starting Tez Johnson. Well, nice, good call there. Got the 15 points in the touchdown from Tez Johnson. 2 TDs from Josh Jacobs, and otherwise terribly inefficient game, but he did have a calf injury. Not the week to start Tyler Algier, and certainly not the week. Come on, Daniel Jones. Don't start your defenses against Daniel Jones, one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Got to know better than that, Aaron. And that's it. Let's move on. We're on to the week. That is the end of week 7. We've wrapped it up. I hope your waiver claims got in, because it's the week 8 bye-pocalypse, by the way. The only week this year with 6 teams on bye. And there's some heavy hitters. I mean, luckily, it's not affecting me. But we've got Detroit, Arizona, the LA Rams, Seattle, Jacksonville, and Vegas all on bye. And right in time for the bye-pocalypse, it is time for the quick mid-season review. Yes, that's right. It's the middle of the season already. We are exactly halfway through the regular season. With 7 matches played, we only have 14 in the regular season before we get into the playoffs. So let's take a look at those standings. If you're watching, you notice I've already pulled them up. Let's run this down. We've got 2 6-1 teams. Daniel sitting in first place, also first place in the league in points for. Great season for him. 6-game win streak after starting off with the loss. Second place, well, that would be me at 6-1. And then Eddie in third at 5-2. Those are your clear 3 front runners in terms of record. And then we've got a whole log jam in the center with Sean, Brandon, Nick, Aaron, and you somehow, Scott, all have 4-3. And then 3-4, not far behind, is Sarah. And then at the bottom, we've got 4 teams at 2-5. That'd be Jason, Cassie, Christine, and Brent. And seems to have really bottomed out. That would be Mike, also sitting in last place in points for, and last place in waiver budget. Just everything going poorly for Mike, but at least he's leading the league in moves made. So I mean, hey, you gotta have something to go for. All right, Scott, I want you to give us some mid-season predictions. Looking at this roster now, looking at how we know these teams breaking down. Start off, give me who's going to finish in last place in the regular season.
All right. Well, I mean, first, I just want to point out that it's very funny that first place has made one move and last place has made 35 moves.
This
The
was,
top and bottom.
this was a tip I had last year. Look at the league leaders and the moves made, and on average, there are more moves made at the top as you move to the bottom. Clearly, I'm an idiot. Don't know what I'm talking about because
I mean, if you draft as good as Daniel does, I guess you don't got to make moves.
Yeah, you don't need anything. That's right. No,
He
and
has 100%
he's got
of
all of
waiver.
his waiver budget. We've all got something to learn from Daniel. Maybe he'll come tell us how to play fantasy football better.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. When you'd given me the prompt, you said who would bottom out. I guess that means who will come last.
Who's going to come last? That's right. Who's going to come last?
Yeah, okay. I said me because, like you said, I'm 4-3, but it's ridiculous. I shouldn't be 4-3. I have 4 tight ends on my roster right now. I'm starting double tight end flex. That's all I can do because there's nobody available that's any good, at least not to the level of research that I've been doing, which is not a lot, admittedly. My roster sucks. My team sucks. I've got 2 good players, like 2. I have Jonathan Taylor, who's been a stud.
Jonathan Taylor has been one of the best players in the league, I will say.
I have Trey McBride, who's awesome.
And that's if we just let's jump over quickly. Jonathan Taylor, number 2 overall in the league, running back 2 in terms of average fantasy points for, averaging 25 points a game. So
yeah, number 2 outside of quarterbacks.
That was running backs. Number 2 running back overall.
No, I know, but I think he's number 2 outside of quarterbacks.
Yeah. Okay, I would believe it. We'll flash that later.
Yeah. You better fact check me because I can say anything. But yeah, no. So me, I hope not. But it's not.
Hey, Trey McBride. You know what? You get one positive. You received some real flack in draft season. Yeah. Well, during the draft, in fact, at draft time, for taking Trey McBride over Brock Bowers. And you know what? That was a fantastic decision. You knew something. You made the right call. Trey McBride has been the most consistent tight end. Well, yeah, most consistent tight end on the air. I mean, Jake Ferguson has surpassed him in terms of the touchdowns after CeeDee Lamb got injured. But basically every game over 10 points, had 1 9-pointer in the last 2 weeks. Now his touchdowns are really firing up too, over 20 points. I mean, he's gone on bye this week, so he's not going to help you. Sadly, you won't be able to start 4 tight ends. I know that's what you're really clamoring to do.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, Waller's dead anyway, so I guess really only.
There we go. Now you're back to a normal roster. All right, you know what? I'll agree. I take your pick. 4-3. That's a funny last place finisher pick, but you know what?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I meant like worst team going forward is me. So maybe I'll finish last. You know, Mike is 1-6, but he makes a lot of moves. You never know.
Yeah. Some good ones too. Also some bad ones. All right. There we go. Scott, according to himself, is going to finish in last place, which means who is definitely going to win. Now who's going to win it all from this midway point? Who is your favorite team?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I looked through everybody that had high average points, which is actually a lot. I think it ranges like, I don't know. It's like a 20-point range, and there's like 5 or 6 teams. 5
teams from 985 to 961. Exactly. Yeah, 24 range there.
And nobody stood out, you know, as a runaway favorite. So you know what? I've got to say, you actually, genuinely.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you made some good pickups. You're 6-1 already, so you can just keep it going. You made good pickups. I think you'll make more good pickups, you know, because you're right on top of it. And then even if you lose,
can't
you can just add it to scores. So
you're right. I got full control, so yeah, I can take away everybody else's fab money. I can do whatever I want to make sure I win. Great call. Wow. Exactly. Yeah. I am known to do those things.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think that you have the best roster.
Wow.
In my very brief look at all of the top rosters.
All right, I will take it. So just so you know, Brent, if you want to trade for Christian Watson, I hear he's coming off the IR this week. So You want another Packer in your lineup? Maybe I'll give you anybody else that you want too. I'll help anybody get out of their bye week troubles. Just send me some trade offers. Although I do have to start like 3 players tomorrow night on Thursday, so my week will depend on this early week game. However, I'm playing Mike, so I mean it's probably not such a big deal. I'll take that. I can't even shut that down. If I was to pick somebody right now, I'm just not even going to say it because I don't want to toot this guy's horn anymore. So let's move right on to our dark horse. Scott, who's your dark horse to win, or at least to make a push for the finals this year? You've already given us the winner. Who's the dark horse team this year?
Yeah, so I thought about this. I thought dark horse has to be somebody that's, kind of middle of the pack or lower. Maybe somebody with kind of a low relative to the top teams' total points. So I'm going with Big Aaron. He's 4-3.
Oh, wow.
He's got
last year's
points.
champ.
Yeah, he's always in the mix. So I think he'll be in the mix again. Lamar gets healthy. Garrett Wilson gets healthy. I don't know if he's not healthy. The Jets figure something out without Justin Fields, hopefully.
Garrett Wilson was out. Yeah, he was out last week. That's right.
The Bills could get it going. Shakir could be really good. I think he's always in the mix, and he's going to be in the mix again.
All right. I don't mind the pick. Aaron's year is definitely going to come down to whether Lamar can return and Baltimore can make a push to actually try and make the playoffs as a team, or if they just give up on their season at 1-6 already. So if they cannot turn things around as a real football team, then Lamar will probably just get shut down to recover for next year. So Aaron's team, as usual, is going to live or die with Lamar Jackson. My dark horse pick, well, I mean, we look at these points for. We've got a whole bunch of high points here. I mean, it's not so much a dark horse pick when you're picking the third place team, but only 912 points for, much lower points for than the actual top runners. But it's got to be Eddie's team. I mean, getting Rashee Rice back and CMC and Rondé Gadsden could be a real game changer. Eddie's going to get Terry McLaurin back pretty soon, getting a bunch of guys back from injury. When Amari Hampton comes back for the playoffs, that could just be scary. Eddie could have the scariest playoff roster. So he's my dark horse pick, even though he is technically still in third place right now. Which brings us to the player questions. Who is your player fantasy MVP so far this season? Let's go over now on YouTube to the player list, or on video. You can watch anywhere else. Let's go to all offense now. Who's your player MVP?
So I have co-player MVPs, and they're both right in the middle of that list. And it's McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor.
Right now, what we're looking at is the top overall fantasy points averaged by week. So this takes into account bye weeks and injuries. Yeah. All right. So you've got number 3 and 4 overall, including quarterbacks.
And And I mean, it's largely because, McCaffrey, you don't know if he's going to stay healthy. He's stayed healthy so far. I think he was the 4th running back taken. And yeah, like you showed his game log earlier, his lowest weekly total is 22.7 points. And that's ridiculous. You always know what you're going to get. If he's healthy, he's scoring points. And then I had to throw Jonathan Taylor, my guy, in there because he's single-handedly keeping me afloat. And he was 20th overall. He was the 11th running back drafted. And he's 2nd right now. So
I think, Jonathan Taylor has got to be up there, if not at the top, for best value of the draft. Easily. 4th highest average fantasy points out of all positions on the season. More than even Josh Allen, 25. I mean, hilariously, a full average point per game behind Christian McCaffrey, which is actually quite a big deal. But still, I mean, I can't go wrong. All right, definitely great picks. They are on my list as well. I am going to scroll down. Okay, we see Rashee Rice way up here. The pick would easily have been Puka Nacua, but now he's been out for a week. He got injured, so gave a really bad week. Even with getting injured, Puka Nacua got injured, had a 4.8 point week because of that, which still factors into the average. He's still averaging 23 points a game. So Puka Nacua is one of my MVPs. And there are just so many. The clear MVP would be, I think, in terms of the best pick of the year, in terms of draft value, Jackson Smith and Jigba averaging 22 points a week. Just the absolute steal of the draft. Well, the second absolute steal of the draft, because if I go here to the next top 25, going all the way down a little bit off the board, but my actual player MVP is Javonte Williams, averaging over 18.5 points a game on Nick's roster. Extremely consistent, only one game under 12 points on the year, and he was like a 9th round pick or something like that, drafted super late, and he's like the 32nd highest fantasy score on the year in terms of average points. So absolutely unreal MVP for the fantasy season. Let's go to the biggest bust of the year. Biggest fantasy bust, and they are not going to be found in this top scoring list of average fantasy points. So we have to go way off the board here. Scott, who is your biggest fantasy bust?
Well, that's not entirely true necessarily. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. To be fair to me, I only looked at the first, I think, 3 rounds or 2 rounds of the draft for my entire preparation for this. But I've got 3 people to talk about right. For biggest bust. So first, the guy we've already talked about, I think, twice on this show, Travion Henderson.
Nice.
You took him in the 2nd round.
I did.
He's the backup.
He
has nothing
47 total points. Yeah.
Nothing indicates that he's going to be more than the backup because the Patriots are doing well with how they're using him. So there's no impetus to move him up or anything. I mean, it's possible that Ramondre gets injured, but right now, terrible value for 2nd round. But you got rid of him, so
that doesn't matter to me. He's already been traded twice. I made out with Chase Brown for him, so I thought that was actually not so great at the time doing it. But now I'm way happier having Chase Brown. Another bust, I would say, but much better than Travion Henderson.
Yeah. For an honorable mention, just because of the draft value, Saquon Barkley. He's just been a shadow of what he was last year. He's scoring points, but not 3rd overall pick points. Couple 17s in there, but I mean, come on, Saquon.
Definitely, yeah, great call. He's only had 1 game above 60 yards rushing, which is unbelievable, right? Not a single 100-yard rushing game. He already had like not 3 great. At this point last year.
Not great.
Yep. And then big bust for sure as a 1st round pick.
Yeah. And then my other one, if we're counting injuries, which I mean, might as well count injuries because it makes him a bust, is my 1st round pick, Malik Neighbors. He had 2 good games, 2 bad games, and then he's out for the year before they get their young stud quarterback in there. Like, imagine what he would be doing if he didn't get hurt.
I can't because I don't even know what he looks like on the field anymore. He's got a torn ACL, so
exactly.
I won't imagine it. But you know what? He's only 35% rostered. You're keeping him on your roster just to remember the good times.
That's right.
Fact, the one good time. But
the one good time, yeah.
That one 37-point game. Yeah, I mean, those 2 weeks, week 3 and 4, 3 points and 4 points, those are definitely big bust weeks. But it's tough to consider players who are injured as complete busts because at least you are not starting him in your lineup. Whereas you talk about Saquon, he's in your lineup every week. And my biggest bust player is also in Cassie's lineup every week. That would be Brian Thomas Jr., who was a 1st round pick. He's had 1 game over 20 points. A couple, and I mean, it's not like he's giving you zeros. He's basically hovering at or below 10 points, but nowhere near the absolute breakout, incredible season that he had last year. So he is my biggest bust of the year. Brian Thomas Jr., definitely not a handsome boy. Look at this photo. That is an ugly boy if I've ever seen one. Not deserving of Cassie's team, or really, I mean, anyone's team in terms of how he has played. We'll see if he can somehow turn it around after the bye. And that is it. We have already gone through our predicted winners, our biggest players, our biggest hits and misses so far on the year. We are at the halfway point. I'm going to stop sharing because that's it. We are back with the outro. No pod last week. We came back this week to review the middle of the year. Week 7 is over. It's time to turn it on, start pushing for some points, make some trades, get through the bye weeks. This is when the trades really need to happen, or you're just going to, fall flat. If you can't make it through this 6-week bye, there's a 4-week bye, multiple 4-week buys coming up, 14 buys, I should say. Take advantage of injured opponents. I meant to say. Don't hold any punches. It's all about making the playoffs. Scott, thank you so much for joining. Any final words?
Go Jays. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, until next week, thank you for listening. Let's go Blue Jays.